Hello people of the VC, it's Andy Cloudy Mulder back with a thread response video, if you want to call it that. Earlier today, Metal Mike Allen, he published a video called 10 albums, big albums that I've never even heard. And it was a fun watch. He picked out 10 albums that he'd never heard. But they were all kind of popular ones that you think most people had heard or most people know. So I thought it'd be fun to have a think about what albums that I have never heard that people may be surprised to hear. So it's probably one of the first VC videos I've done where I'm not showing anything at all, because I don't know any of these, and these 10 albums I'm going to show I have never heard. I have heard songs off them, I have heard songs by the band over the years, maybe quite a few, and they're not bands that I necessarily don't like. Some are, some aren't. Some are just that I've just never come across them or never got around to picking them up, or I just wasn't necessarily aware of them back in the day. To make it a little bit harder, as I usually do with threads and contest entries, I'm going to try and well, no, I'm not going to try. I have kept all my selections within the my 80s metal bracket. So everything I show will be from the 80s rock and metal bucket, and but I've never heard any of these. So let's see if I can surprise you with one or two of these. So first album. Right, so the first one, I was actually struggling to come up with 10, to be honest with you. I had 9, so I thought I would jump on the back of Mike's video and also show Quiet Riot, Metal Health. I like Quiet Riot. I just have never heard Metal Health, and this is one of the albums that Mike said that he'd never picked it up. What I do have is the 4-track tour edition 12-inch single with Metal Health, Love's a Bitch, Come On Feel the Noise, and Let's Go Crazy. But I never got around to picking up the album. I have seen it on numerous times when I've been digging. I've just always found something I prefer to spend my money on at the time. I fully expect to pick up the Metal Health album at some point in the future. After that, next up, yeah, Poison. Look what the cat dragged in. I mean, just look at them. To me, that was everything that was wrong with the metal scene at the time. Never liked the Poison, their music. I'm struggling. I know they had a couple of really sickly, sweet hits, which I would recognise if I heard, but I couldn't tell you the name of a song off that album. And what self-respecting metalhead from South Wales would be seen dead picking up an album that looked like that? Moving on, next one. Whitesnake, self-titled. David Coverdale. I can't stand the bloke. I can't tell you why. Obviously, I've never met him. I'm sure he's lovely, but I just couldn't get to grips with him. And especially, this is the first time I think when this album came out that I was really aware of David Coverdale. I had no idea about his past with Deep Purple, and when I saw him and his big hair and the hits that were off this album, it was just a band that I instantly disliked, and I own no Whitesnake at all, but specifically that album I will never own. I guarantee it. Next one, Van Halen, 1984. No particular reason on this one, to be honest with you. I don't mind Van Halen. I'm not a big fan. I know there's some really big fans out there. It would have been easy for me to pick Sammy Hagar one, because again, Sammy Hagar's a bit like David Coverdale. For some reason, I just can't get on with him at all. I don't mind David Lee Roth. I don't mind Van Halen, but I only have 2 Van Halen albums, just Dive It Down and Fair Warning, and they're not that difficult to come by. Maybe one day I'll pick it up, but I'm not against picking it up. I just don't own it, and I have never heard it from start to finish. So there we go. Next up, Rush, Moving Pictures. I don't own any Rush. I tell a lie, I do own one Rush album, Fly By Night, and that was on CD. That was VCLT from Greg the Egg. He was trying to turn me onto them, but Geddy Lee's voice, again, I'm really particular when it comes to vocalists. Some music can be great, but if I don't click with a vocalist, then that's it. I can't listen to the band, and Rush is one of those bands. I could have picked any Rush album, to be honest with you, but as this is an 80s metal version, I've gone for Moving Pictures. Next up, this one should be less surprising if you used to watching my videos, or you've read comments that I've made on your videos about this band, but Def Leppard, Pyromania, never heard it all the way through. I know all the singles on there. I could probably sing along if they came on, but I cannot stand Joe Elliott's voice. Honestly, it grates on me like nothing else. It wasn't because I thought they'd sold out on this. I didn't actually like them on the early albums, which everyone says, you should listen to the early albums, they're so much better. It's not because they sold out, it's because they had Joe Elliott in the band, and I've just never been able to get a grip with his vocal style at all. The last four, these ones may surprise people a little bit more. So next up, Merciful Fate, Melissa. Again, I could have chosen any Merciful Fate album. I could have chosen any King Diamond album. I've not clicked with King Diamond's vocal style at all. The music's really good. Everything about the music I should love, and I don't mind it. I kind of feel with King Diamond that his time will come. I'll get it at some point. There are other vocalists and other bands that I didn't click with originally, and a time comes when, there you go, I hear a song and suddenly it's there, and I'll start picking up the stuff. Obviously, by the time I do, I won't be able to afford any of the records at all. But there we go. I'm probably making a rod for my own back with that, but I don't own any Merciful Fate or King Diamond albums. Next up, yes, Slayer. Show No Mercy. I just wasn't into Slayer in the 80s. They kind of scared me a bit when they first came on the scene. It was all a bit too aggressive for me. My kind of thrash metal I liked was Anthrax and Metallica and Megadeth, and I like Nuclear Assault, but that was kind of as extreme as it got really at the time. I'm kind of more into Slayer now. I've got 2 or 3 Slayer albums on vinyl. I don't have this one. Slayer's not a band I would necessarily listen to on CD. So usually when I buy CDs, I rip them and I listen to them on my lossless audio player. This thing's great, by the way. Much better than MP3s. But I don't tend to listen to Slayer much, and if I do listen to Slayer, it will be I'll pick up a record and play it and give it a good listen to. But I've just never heard Show No Mercy, and in my obviously as collectors we like to put rules on us, and when it comes to 80s metal, I'll only buy 80s metal original. I don't have any 80s metal reissues, which again is probably making a rod for my own back. But it's just one of those self-imposed rules for no apparent reason. But I one day I will probably own that album. It's just that I don't currently, and I've never heard it all the way through. Ozzy Osbourne, Blizzard of Oz. Back in the 80s, I did not like Ozzy's voice. I didn't get it. I was never a fan of Black Sabbath back in the 80s, and whenever I heard his stuff, I just didn't get on with him. I really enjoy it now. Since I've got back into collecting vinyl, I've got 4 or 5 of his albums. It's just that Blizzard of Oz is one that's escaped me. Like I said, I'm on the lookout for a good original 80s copy. It'll probably take me a time to find one at a decent price, but it's one I think I will own, or I definitely will own when I see it. But I just haven't heard at all. And the last one, I left this last because I think this might surprise people more than anything, because it's not an album that's that difficult to find. In fact, it's an album that I have seen out digging many times. In fact, there's one shop that I go to in Edinburgh where it's kind of always there. I've always thought it's like insurance policy that one day I'll just find stuff. I just won't find it. It's stuff that I want to buy that day, so I'll go and get this one, so I've got something to buy. Unfortunately, the last time I went to the shop, I realised it wasn't actually there anymore. But it's Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. It's listed in so many people's favourite prog album. It's listed in so many people's top 10 albums. I like Queensryche. I've got other of their albums, but I've just never heard Operation Mindcrime, which is probably a crime in itself. And I think probably next time I do see it out in the wild, I will buy it just to get it done. Again, I've never kind of picked it up on CD. I really, the thrill of the hunt, really. I want to hear it on vinyl for the first time. Again, making a rod for my own back, but what can I say? So there you have it. There's my 10 albums that I have never listened to. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your 10 albums would be, or maybe make a video as well. That'd be cool, because I'll see that. Thanks for watching. Catch you again soon. Cheers.